Hey everyone, so I'm making this video to explain a very simple concept. Actually, it's not a concept, it's something which is provided when you download Hazelcast zip files from Hazelcast official website. But I just want you to be aware that this is also something that can be used. So let's start. So this official website of Hazelcast, I have opened the download section. When we download this zip file of any particular version, there are multiple libraries which are present in this zip file. Those libraries can actually be used. In this particular video, I'll be showing you what all libraries are present in this particular zip file and how can those be used. So I've already downloaded these zip files, so I'll directly show you what all things are present in those zip files. I have downloaded zip files of two particular versions, 3.12.4 and the latest version, which is 5.1.3. Now, since all my videos on Hazelcast have been made on 3.12.4 version, so in this video also I'll be covering about that version only. But there is not much difference in the latest version and in 3.12.4 version as well. So in this video I'll also show you what's the difference in the latest version. So this is my 3.12.4 version zip file. I have already unzipped it and this is the directory which got created. Now I'll just move inside this particular directory. These are all the directories which are present in the root directory. Now you can see that there are two folders or directories, bin and lib. So basically when you download this zip bundle, there are some libraries which you can directly use, and also there are some scripts which are present in this bin directory. So let me first show you what's present in lib directory. So as you can see, there are some runnable jars present in this particular lib directory. First jar is of Hazelcast. Second jar is Hazelcast all, which contains all the APIs, server API and Hazelcast client APIs. The third one is Hazelcast client library, and the fourth one is Hazelcast Spring related jar file. So what's the use of these jars? So let's talk about the first jar, that is Hazelcast 3.12.4 jar. So with Hazelcast, there are different deployment strategies that can be used. One is embedded deployment and the other one is client server deployment. So what is embedded deployment? If you are creating Hazelcast nodes or Hazelcast members in your application code itself, so your Hazelcast member is tightly coupled with your application code, that is embedded deployment. So as soon as you start your application, Hazelcast member also gets started with your application code itself, so that is called embedded deployment. The second one is client server deployment. What happens in client server deployment? You can have Hazelcast server deployed on a server and you can have your Hazelcast client applications. Those Hazelcast client application can be in different technologies or languages. For example, you can create Hazelcast client application in Node, or you can create your Hazelcast client application in Java, or you can create REST client as well, and there are some other options as well. All these things are very clearly explained on Hazelcast official website. So if you want to know more about these things, you can go through the official document. So what happens in client server deployment? You have your Hazelcast server deployed on a particular server and your Hazelcast client application is running on a different server or on the same server. All the data is being stored on the Hazelcast server and your client application directly connects to that particular cluster, server cluster, and plays with the data. There are some other Hazelcast deployment strategies as well, like you can deploy Hazelcast in Docker container, or you can also use Hazelcast cloud deployment. So these are some strategies as well, like Hazelcast container and cloud deployment. I will be talking about these things in my upcoming videos, but right now my main focus is on Hazelcast client server deployment. So it totally depends upon your use case. Let's say you have chose to go with client server deployment. In that case, you can create your own client application, but with Hazelcast server application, either you can go with the jar files that I've already shown you. You can directly deploy those jar files. Let me just show you again. So these are the jar files. So let's say if you go with client server deployment and you are creating your own client Hazelcast client application. So either you can also create your Hazelcast server application, or you can directly use this particular jar file which is being provided by Hazelcast. So you can directly deploy this jar file. It is actually a runnable jar. You can deploy it on any server. You can simply run this jar file, and as soon as you run this jar file on any server, your Hazelcast server will get started. One member will get started, and using the default Hazelcast configuration. You can also write your own Hazelcast server code and deploy it, but that is not mandatory. That is what the point that I want you to understand. Similarly, if you are writing your own Hazelcast server application and for some reason you also need Hazelcast client application to test if your server application is running fine or not, either you can create your own Hazelcast client application, or you can directly use this Hazelcast client jar which is provided by Hazelcast. So in this video I will mainly be showing you how to use this Hazelcast server jar. So let me just run this particular jar file. Okay, so as you can see, this is the command that I ran, and my Hazelcast server got started with one member with default configuration. If I want to see if the Hazelcast cluster is running fine or not, if I am able to connect to this particular server or not, what we can do, we can create a Hazelcast client application. So I've already created a demo Hazelcast client application. Let me just go through it. So this is my simple Hazelcast client application. This is a Java client because we are writing the client code in Java. We are using Hazelcast Java client library. So this code is very simple. We are just creating a Hazelcast client instance. I'm creating a map, and then I'm putting some values and printing those values. I'll run this and we'll see if it is getting connected to the Hazelcast cluster which I've just started or not. So as you can see, our client got started and it got connected to the server which we had started using the jar file. These are the values which are getting printed, which I'm putting through my client application. So it's very simple, right? If my only requirement is to create Hazelcast client application, and even in your development environment you don't have to create your own Hazelcast server, you can directly use that jar file. So that is a simple thing that I want you to be aware of. I've been working on Hazelcast for the past three and a half years, but this is something which I was also not aware of. I mean, recently, around 1 month back, I got aware that this is also something that can be used. So I just thought that maybe I should make a video and make people aware about this. So the both Hazelcast client and server versions are 3.12.4. So I've already shown you the server version. Let me just show you my client version. So this is my form file. As you can see, my Hazelcast client version is 3.12. So I'm using the same version. But as far as the versions is concerned, I mean, even with the latest version, you will not have any issues. I mean, the concept will be same. So that's it. Our client got connected and it is printing the value. Now there is one more thing that we can do. So last time I just ran this particular jar file directly, but there is other ways also. I mean, there are some scripts which are present in the bin directory. You can directly use those scripts to start Hazelcast server client application. So let me just go to the bin directory. So these are all the scripts. There are some batch script and shell script. So as per your platform, you can use either of the scripts. So right now I'm using Mac, so I'll be using the shell script. So this is the shell script start.sh to start Hazelcast server. So if you don't want to run the jar file, if you don't want to start Hazelcast server through running the jar file, you can use this particular shell script to start the Hazelcast server. So let me just run this shell script. So as you can see, I just ran this shell script and our server got started with one Hazelcast member. Now let me again just test if the server is running fine or not. I'll again go to my Hazelcast client application and I'll directly run it again. So this time also my client got started and it got connected to our Hazelcast server and values got printed. These are the two ways that you can start Hazelcast server in your local system. Basically these shell scripts and batch scripts and jar files, runnable jar files can be used mostly in development environment, because in your production environment, if you are going with Hazelcast client server deployment, then in production mostly you will be using Docker container. You may be running Hazelcast server in a Docker container and Hazelcast client applications in other Docker containers, or you can go with Hazelcast cloud deployment directly. So these will not be of much use in your production environment, but while developing, while you are in your development phase, while you are creating your client applications, during that time these scripts and libraries will be of use. And mostly these days we are actually deploying our application in containers or in cloud. But in case if you still want to use, or if you still want to deploy the jar file directly on your server, so then you can use the jar files which are provided by Hazelcast. So I hope we are clear with the point that I'm trying to make in this particular video. Even in latest Hazelcast versions, these shell scripts and libraries are present. Let me just show you with the latest version, that is 5.1.3. The time when I'm making this video, that is the latest version. So again, in this version we have this bin directory and lib directory. Let me go inside lib. So in this lib directory we have multiple jar files. I mean, in 3.12.4 version we are just 4 jars, but in the latest version there are multiple jars. So you can use these jars as per your requirement. So again, with this version also you don't have to do anything. You can directly run this jar file if you want to create a Hazelcast server, and you can create your client applications and connect with this jar. Or again, if you don't want to run this jar file, we have some scripts. These are all the scripts which are present in our bin directory. This is the same shell script, it's just the name that has been changed. In previous version it is start.sh, in this version it is hz-start. So this is the shell script that I will be running if I want to start Hazelcast server application in Linux or Mac platform. So as you can see, in the 3.12.4 version and in latest version, almost everything is same, nothing changes. But still, if you face any issue while running these scripts or jar file directly, you can let me know in the comment section, and I'll make a different video and explain and show you how to do the same thing with latest Hazelcast versions as well. So that's all about this video. If you have any doubt related to this video, what I have explained in this video, or if you have any doubt with any of the videos, just post your doubt in the comment section and I'll try to explain the doubt in a different video as soon as possible. Thank you.